What's up, weirdos? What's going on, guys? How the hell are you? How the hell are you? A lot of whining and complaining today. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. We're gonna go through some things, guys. We got some people who don't know what they're talking about. So we're gonna debunk what they're saying. Why not? Why not? Okay, so let's start with Bitcoin. So, saw a comment this morning. Gito, looking at you, man. You had a lot to say over in the chat. So, you said that I said crypto was going to go up through August, and I was wrong. Bitcoin went up in August 11.16%. That is a move from 111,900 all the way up to a peak of 124,000. So you're wrong there, not me. I was right. Now let's go over to the total too, because I know you'll say, well, what about the altcoins? Well, the altcoins went up in August 23.80%. So again, I was right. Altcoins went up. So that would mean that you are wrong, right? So we'll just put that to bed right now. Let's get into the super chats. What do we got? Isaac. Good morning, Rob. Let's start the morning off with a super chat, my guy. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Big Kev, remember, if you want what the 1% have, you have to do what the 99% won't do. So hold. That's exactly it. And I think some people are confused, right? I think some people get the impression that I'm here to debate with them and I'm here to convince them that altcoin season is coming and that crypto will pump. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I don't give a crap if you sell your bags today, walk away from crypto forever. It affects me in absolutely no way, shape, or form. I'm here to help the people who want to be helped, not to debate and argue with people who want to whine, complain, and argue in chats, right? So keep that in mind. I don't care if you sell your bags and walk away. I'm not here to convince you of anything, right? It doesn't affect me in any way if you sell everything and walk away, right? Just remember that. I'm here to help those who want to be helped. Ramona, good evening, all. Please smash the like button. Absolutely, Ramona. We'll do your one-on-one today. Some things came up last night, as you know. So just let me know what time kind of works for you this afternoon, and we'll get that going. All right, let's get into the chat. Grace Aiken, what's going on? Beebs, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Jesus, good morning. What's going down? Jed said, must be Pacific time. I'll be back. William, what's going on? Crypto JPEG, are we there yet? Big Kev's in the house. Good morning. Crypto JPEG, When Moon, When Lambo. Isaac, checking in on Crypto Blueprint. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Good morning, fam. I'm actually fine with the market staying at these prices till mid next week. Well, that's exactly it, right? You get the opportunity to fill your bags even more. Hold on to your seatbelts. Dip coming. Braveheart, good morning. Crypto Future fam, much love. We are one sleep closer to blast off. Absolutely. Isaac, I'm hoping we see that big leg up by the end of September, according to the M2. Yes, absolutely. Ari, where have you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. There she is. Gamma Goddess in the house. Let's get this money. H. Barbarina's in the house. K. Lily, what's going down? Braveheart Gamma in the house. Absolutely. Colton, I think I broke the like button. Can everyone hit it to make sure it's working? Nice. Well played, sir. Well played. Braveheart's in the house. Paul, good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Why is BlackRock and other companies... That's a misconception, Paul. BlackRock's not selling crypto because BlackRock doesn't want to hold crypto. BlackRock is custodying crypto via their ETFs, right? So what that means is that when their customers want to take profits, they have to sell the crypto. So it's not that BlackRock wants to sell crypto. or that BlackRock is no longer bullish on crypto. It's that whatever customer they're custodying their Bitcoin or Ethereum via the ETF, the spot ETF, is demanding that they sell so that the customer can take their profit. So it has nothing to do with whether BlackRock wants to sell Bitcoin or not. It's their customer's decision, right? Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel on the way in. It helps the channel grow. Costs you absolutely nothing whatsoever. So go ahead and check that out for me. Green Tea, Squirtle, where have you been? First Pokemon, second Pokemon of the day. We had Lickitung earlier. Braveheart says maybe they're trying to shake out the weak hands so they can buy more later prices. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Like the song, absolutely. Well, games are often played. Just hodl, yes. By the freaking dip. Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, good morning. Good to see you, man. E. Perez, Surf Armory. Good morning, Rob. You sound like you're feeling better, so we all like that. Thank you for your relentless work and ethic. Hey, absolutely, absolutely. 2025, the year of massive accumulation. Keep DCAing on what you guys and gals. Absolutely, man. Ditto's in the house. Morning, morning. What a blessing it is to be able to stuff my bags. That's exactly it, Ditto. That is exactly it. What an opportunity you have today to stuff your bags, right? Mario, dump, rump. It doesn't matter what the market does. What's going on? Had to cough there. Buy the rump. There you go. Another local. What's going on? Motivation Daily. Good morning, weirdos. How's the latest and greatest doing health-wise, Rob? I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm a little cranky this morning because I've probably read an abundance of stupidity in terms of comments in the chat and stuff like that. So, Ty, good to see you, man. What's up, Robin fam? Shannon's in the house. I'm still planting trees and listening to Rob. There you go. Nice. What do we got here? Cars today have many gadgets. I tried to reverse it and play video of someone running it over. Nice. There you go. Oh, man. Sorry, someone's ringing my doorbell in the background. I'm trying to ignore it. Message you in the Patreon about tones. Perfect. Times perfect. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, let's keep going. Where was I? What skipped ahead on me there? Skipped ahead. Sorry, guys. I gotta find where I was in the chat. Call me up, Big Rob. Let's go. Nice. William, good to see you, man. Next song, these people complain. Next song, these people complaining are people who are just looking to get rich overnight. They probably won't make it. Well, exactly, right? Exactly. They think that it's, these are the same people that think that charting is about certainties and not probabilities. The problem is when they came into crypto, they were misled, right? They were taught that you're going to get rich by buying something and holding it for a month. They were taught that technical analysis is a 100% accurate thing, that you're either right or wrong. There's no gray area. It's either you are right or you are wrong. There is no probabilities. It's all certainties when it comes to technical analysis. That's what these people think. They get indoctrinated into crypto thinking that that's what happens. And they don't have the proper education or training in the space, right? I see it like over in I use Caesar as an example because he bases his channel on TA. I see it all the time in the comment section of his videos. It's absurd. People attacking him. Oh, you were wrong. You're wrong. Wrong about what? At any given moment, there's about 6 different probabilities that could play out on a chart. There is no 100% accurate way of reading a chart, and they don't understand that, right? They think it's either right or wrong. You either know what it's going to do because you have a crystal ball, or you don't, right? And there is no in between. So this is a great time to DCA. Jesse and James, get them, Rob. Let's go get the emotional sissy bears. My bags are packed and ready to roll. There you go. Over the top. What's going on? Goddamn, stop being wrong every second. Rob brought the receipts this morning. Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, you're gonna hop in the comment section or the chat and say I'm wrong. I'm gonna show you that you're wrong, right? Absolutely. Can't wait for the pump. I need money. I'm holding on. There you go. 85 crash. It's coming, man. Andrew, what's up, man? I'm learning how to navigate the crypto market and get rich with the Patreon community. What you're doing is a blessing. God bless. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm glad you're learning, man. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help people who want to be helped, right? Not to debate with people who want to whine and complain, right? Thanks for the awesome job you're doing. Hey, absolutely, Yoda. Absolutely. Babes, my dude. Fed Powell's most important speech happening tomorrow again. Is it tomorrow? What day is it today? Isn't it Wednesday today? Or is it Thursday? It's Thursday. Holy smokes. You're right. Philip, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. You're not here that often. I'm happy to see you when you're around, man. AF, good morning, brother Rob. What's going down? What's going on? Good to see you. Traders. Yes. Strawberry Dragon. Going through the car wash, listening to Rob. There you go. Hopefully you don't lose reception. Oh, House. Good morning, sir. Need this bull run to set myself up for the next 8 years of financial freedom. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. What do we got? Shannon, complainers must not be on the Patreon. Easy fix. Join. No such thing as a free lunch. Actually, no. Some of the complainers were actually over in the chat on the Patreon. August isn't even over to the wine. Yeah, exactly. It's the 21st. It's the 21st today. Yeah. Like I said, those people, if they're not rich, 23, almost 24% move on the altcoin market cap. It's not enough for them, right? It's got to be thousands of percentages, or else everybody's wrong. Crypto's a scam, and they're going to whine and complain, right? They don't understand it takes time. Angelo, pure manipulation on this market. Does anyone know where this market pushes up? All I can do is buy. U.S. and Europe trade deal complete with 15% and 700 billion bullish news. I haven't seen that yet. I'm going to have to check that out, Bailey. I'm going to have to, maybe we'll talk about that in the 1, excuse me, in the 1 p.m. Live stream. I gotta find something here. All right. Anyway, let's keep it going. Why do you talk so much and not wear a suit? I'm buying. Nice. Alex, good morning. Ray, what's up, man? I will be joining the Patreon this evening after work. Nice. Can't wait to see you over there, man. I'm excited to learn from some. You picked a good day to do it because it's Thursday night, which means we have our exclusive Patreon-only live stream with Maximus Crypto and Rule Black every single Thursday. So you're going to want to be here for that. You picked a good day to do it. All I need is a 2x and I'll be happy. Oh, that should be easy. Thanks for your coaching support, brother. Loading my bags. Nice. Dry powder getting wet. There you go. Happy Thursday. Buying the fear. Hit the likes and subscribe, says Braveheart, so we can stop delaying the altcoin season. You cannot argue with science. Absolutely. Wish I could be around more often, says Philip. 50-plus staff and a business to run. Hey, I get it, man. Got to get that dry powder, my friend. I get it. Welcome to the Patreon family, Ray. Absolutely, Braveheart. Big C, here for the fireworks, Rob. This manipulation is crazy. That's okay. We're going to keep buying. What's your opinion on Sui AI? Bullish on Sui AI. Good morning, family. Tomorrow's payday. Nice. OG, did the collab with Caesar happen? Yeah, it happened like a month ago. It happened. Yeah, like a month ago or something like that. You have to go back in the live streams to check that out. I'll probably connect with him I'll probably connect with Caesar again, see if he wants to do another collab sometime soon. Absolutely. So yeah. All right. Well, we can get into the news now. Let's see what's going on out there. What do we got? What do we got going on in the news today? Let's get into our first article. All right, crypto market rebounds as Bitcoin sentiment exits fear territory. Bitcoin sentiment has returned to neutral levels following a brief market correction that pushed the cryptocurrency into the fear territory on Wednesday. According to Cointelegraph, Bitcoin fell to 112,350 on Coinbase during late trading on Wednesday, representing a 10% correction from the August peak, just over $124,000. The decline caused Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index to drop to 44, its lowest reading in 2 months. The cryptocurrency has since begun recovering, reclaiming the $114,500 level during early Thursday trading. The recovery has resulted in improved market sentiment, with the Fear and Greed Index shifting back to neutral territory at the rating of 50. Blockchain analysts and Sentiment noted that crypto markets have begun a rebound as anticipated, though they cautioned investors to watch for more uncertainty ahead. Total cryptocurrency market cap has recovered to reach $3.96 trillion following the 2% gain over the past 24 hours. However, analysts warn that additional volatility may emerge this week as investors await key economic announcements. OG says, on the Patreon or just YouTube, where should I look for the videos? It's on YouTube. We collaborated on YouTube. Braveheart says 140. There's actually 225 people watching and 80 likes, 60 plus slackers. Guys, hit the like button. Yeah, we got 223 people watching. We have 84 likes. Guys, we can do way better than that. Market sentiment transitions in Bitcoin often serve as leading indicators for broader crypto market movements. The rapid shift from fear to neutral territory within 24 hours demonstrates the cryptocurrency's market sensitivity to price fluctuations and external factors. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent recent comments about the strategic Bitcoin reserve disappointed observers initially, though he appeared to modify his stance in subsequent social media posts. Recent research reveals strong institutional interest in cryptocurrency investments despite short-term volatility. EY and Coinbase found that 83% surveyed institutional investors plan to increase their crypto allocations in 2025. The study indicates that 59% of institutional investors plan to allocate more than 5% of their assets under management to digital assets this year. We previously reported that 15 U.S. states have begun establishing Bitcoin reserves following President Trump's executive order to explore creating a national cryptocurrency stockpile. This institutional adoption trend provides fundamental support for Bitcoin despite periodic sentiment fluctuations. The sentiment recovery comes at a time when institutional participation in cryptocurrency markets continues expanding. Pinnacle Digest reports a spot Bitcoin ETF had accumulated over $65 billion in assets under management worldwide by April of 2025, with BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust alone attracting over $18 billion. This institutional infrastructure provides greater market stability compared to previous cycles. Driven primarily by retail investors, the rapid sentiment recovery suggests that professional investors view temporary price corrections as buying opportunities rather than fundamental threats to Bitcoin's long-term value proposition. Federal Reserve Jerome Powell's upcoming speech at Jackson Hole tomorrow's conference represents the next major catalyst that could influence crypto markets' directions. The CME FedWatch tool currently forecasts an 82% probability of a rate cut on September 17th. Though this figure has been declining recently, market participation will analyze Powell's comments for signals about future monetary policy that could impact risk asset pricing. The cryptocurrency sector's maturation becomes evident in how quickly sentiment can shift from fear to neutral without triggering broader market panic. Unlike previous cycles where fear readings often persisted for weeks or months, the current market structure allows for more rapid sentiment adjustments. The evolution reflects the growing presence of institutional participation who apply systemic risk management approaches rather than emotional decision making, and has historically driven crypto. I'm getting really tired of the Fed's approach. Yeah, you and me both, Brock. You and me both. Powell versus Trump. Are we seeing the buildup ending to the Fed live on pay-per-view? Let's just put them in a boxing match. Dustin, hey Rob, is Elite Chain a good project? I heard Ripple backing the project. I don't know really much about it, brother. I don't really know much about it, so I can't really help you out on that one. All right, so what do the morning markets look like? What does the open look like today? Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look.
Markets, Fed, interest rates, inflation, and so much more with a guy who you probably need to know even better than you may already. David Zervos is here. He's Chief Market Strategist at Jefferies, CNBC contributor. And yes, now he is officially on the list of candidates being considered for the job of Fed chairman. So good morning. Now, do you have to watch your words in a different way, do you feel like?
I think that's probably fair to say. I would also say that, I kind of have to come at this a little bit differently than I've done in the past, where I talk more about what I think the Fed should do as opposed to what I've done for the last 15 years, which is at Jefferies, and even before that, which is talk about what the Fed will do. So I'm here to talk about a much more broader set of topics.
Before we get into any of that, though, just tell us, the backstory on getting on this list, what kind of phone calls you've got. And I know that you have a relationship and you've known the Treasury Secretary for a long time.
I have. I've known Scott for quite a while. He's a wonderful guy and an amazing, he's transitioned into an amazing Treasury Secretary, but he's an amazing trader as well. And so I've known Scott. I've met the president a few times, and I've been involved with a few other folks that are part of the administration and were part of the campaign as well. So I sort of got myself closer to Washington in the last couple of years. And
we're pulling for you so much, just so we can say, David Zervos, Fed chair and CNBC contributor. Would you give that up?
I would, if I have to, I would.
They're
going to make you give up a lot of things.
That's something to think about before you accept. Can you imagine? I was kidding about pulling for you. We're pulling for everybody.
We're other CNBC contributors that have been on Fed chair lists in the past.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Well, lots of guests, but I don't know.
Although I did
not a contributor.
I think the president, when he called in, he did talk about how CNBC was fertile ground for potential Fed chairs.
He did
as well.
There you are.
And
they're usually Trump Tuesdays.
So here's the big question.
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you do? Not what do you think they will do or should do. What would you do?
I mean, what I would do is try to coalesce the committee around the idea that policy is actually quite restrictive. I think that argument needs to be made, and that argument is something I've been making in my research notes and in my analysis now for the better part of 8 to 9 months, basically going back into the basically the fall of last year. And the idea, it's a little bit wonky, but Kevin Warsh has been kind of pushing on this idea, a good friend as well, that the balance sheet of the Fed has now contracted to the point of almost being neutral after being very stimulative for a very long time. And so you're left now with rates at a much more restrictive rate without that extra kicker from the balance sheet. And so we really need to get rates back toward a more neutral level.
So it's not a Fed funds versus 10-year.
It's much more about the combination of the balance sheet and the rate structure. And I think someone needs to go in and argue and present with the 11 other voting members on that committee a cogent case for why rates are more restrictive than maybe the Fed is currently thinking, the staff is currently thinking, and the street economists are currently thinking.
Can I ask you, and maybe this is like a deep sort of, like dark arts of what's happening here, but a number of people that I've talked to that are living in the realm that you're living in are all trying to see what Jay Powell either says on Friday in Jackson Hole, but maybe even more importantly, does in September, because that will be probably the last major decision he will make before somebody gets named. And the reason I mention this is there is a view, I don't know if you agree with this view, that if he doesn't cut rates in September, the president, first of all, will think that Jay is thumbing his nose at him, but B, would want to find somebody who is super dovish, somebody who he knows could be put in there, who would get the job done effectively. But if he lowers rates, that maybe it somehow takes a little bit of the pressure off in terms of the kind of person he might select. Am I reading tea leaves too much?
That seems a little deep in the weeds for me. I think the idea of this meeting being such a critical meeting is probably, I wouldn't go there. I just wouldn't go there. I would argue that this meeting is an important meeting, but the importance of what Jay says on forward guidance or what the committee is doing in these set of meetings leading up to a pretty significant leadership change at the board are less and less significant. In fact, it's becoming more irrelevant. We're going to have a committee by May of next year that's made up of 4 Trump nominees. It's going to be Michelle Bowman and Chris Waller, who were already picked by the president, then the seat for Adriana Kugler, and the seat that Jay vacates in May. So you're going to have 4 out of 7 board members that are effectively.
That's some of the news I'm seeing today about. That's maybe another one with some of the news that's out today about some others. Sam Telly's on this, but we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But my wonky question is, how does the balance sheet that you described get you to the risk being much more on growth than inflation? Why do you think that the nature of what you described, where the balance sheet is, why do you think that inflation is not a problem when it seems so sticky to get down to 2 for the last mile?
I think it's been a little sticky. It's come a long way, Joe. It's come from 9.1 down to 2 and change.
But if you want 2, we're not 2. We're headed back above 3. It could be, right?
This is the art of central banking, right? You're balancing a 4.2% unemployment rate with a 2 and change inflation rate. You're looking at the future and saying, what are the inflationary pressures? We've got demographics, we've got AI.
1 to 3 is good enough for government work, is what you're saying. 1 to 3 is good enough.
Maybe when you start working for the government, you get 8-foot guineas instead of 2-foot guineas.
No doubt.
I think that's probably fair. But I
guess
I would.
What's the size of the balance sheet? Isn't it still more than $6 trillion?
$6 trillion, but it's about 20% of GDP. You remember, it's related to the size of the economy. And it was 40% of GDP at the peak.
At the peak, it was more than $9 trillion. Yeah, but before 2008, it was $1 trillion.
And that was before we went to this ample reserves kind of more highly regulated structure, where I think I would kind of put a neutral balance sheet at where we were in 2019, when we had rates at about 2%, flat, yield curve at 2, and the balance sheet was 20% of GDP. The unemployment rate was 3.5. Inflation was 1.6.
We just never get back to these being out of these emergency contingencies where the Fed is doing so much to keep things afloat.
I mean, we've got those great tools if we need them, Becky, and I'm more than excited to use them if they need to be used. But the point is, if we go back to 2019, I don't want to go back to 2008 because the structure of the market's changed so much. That was a neutral place. There were no rate hikes, no rate cuts priced in. We were sitting at a 2% yield curve flat. We had a balance sheet at 20% of GDP, no QE, no QT. It was about as neutral as it could get, with the Fed at its mandate, full employment at 3.5 and price stability at inflation under 1. That's a good spot. That's the place we should be looking to get back to. The balance sheet is back at 20% of GDP, within spitting distance.
Let me ask you, though, to think
rates
about.
Rates or not.
Yes, 2019, guys, looking back, was most definitely, at this point in time, the good old days. The good old days, trust me. Jake the Snake, first factory made me late. Fiat factory made me late. Can I get my No, you got to do them yourself. No tagging in. David, what's up, buddy? They want the policy restrictive. Venom, what's going on? I don't understand why people are worried. The market does the same thing for years. Patience is the key. Jerome Powell will be out next year in May. Yeah, like I said, some people get indoctrinated into crypto, and they think that when they come in that they're going to get rich in a month. They don't understand that it is that they have to allow time for their investments to mature. They don't want to hear any of that. They want instant gratification. They want to come in, they want to buy something. They want someone to read a crypto chart that has 100% certainty and no probabilities at all, and tell them that they're going to be rich in 4 weeks, and then they get rich and then they leave. That's what they think crypto is. They have no idea. And anything outside of that is a temper tantrum in the comment section or chats, right? So, Gamecast. Hey, Rob, I got a nice bag of Nadix and Zevec. Should I start a new bag or stick to these? Depends on what the rest of your portfolio looks like and how much money you have in there. But if you do need portfolio structure help, then message me over on the Patreon and we will definitely help you with that. JT, yes, Jake the Snake, the man, the myth. New Ethereum address sells 1.5 million and opens a 20x leverage long. Now that is some confidence. Newly created Ethereum wallet sold $1.5 million worth of Ethereum and opened a 20x leverage long position on the cryptocurrency via Hyperliquid's decentralized derivatives platform. This move highlights the growing trend of high leveraged trading in DeFi markets, potentially influencing Ethereum's price dynamics and volatility amid broader institutional interests. A new Ethereum wallet sold approximately, like I said, $1.5 million, and they immediately used those funds to put in a 20x long position on Ethereum. This transaction was connected through Hyperliquid, a decentralized derivatives platform, and has been confirmed via blockchain records. The wallet is is newly created and lacks any identifiable link to known crypto personalities or institutions. No public identity or previous activities have been associated with this address. Official channels have yet to release a statement about this event or its implications. It must be Tom Lee. The move could impact Ethereum's price dynamics and increase volatility in decentralized derivatives markets. It poses significant liquidation risks due to the high leverage involved. Wow, $1.5 million at 20x leverage. Wow. The event occurred during a period of market volatility with ETH prices fluctuating significantly. Financial implications include rising volatility and increased attention to Ethereum derivatives markets. Institutional investors such as Bitmine are also making substantial Ethereum purchases, contributing to larger market flows. This address's activity might illustrate broader market trends. Someone's got some very big confidence that Ethereum is about to move to the upside with some conviction. Welcome to McFreedom's. May I take your order? So wow, $1.5 million long position at 20x leverage. Can I get an amen to that? Fantastic. That's a bullish sign if I ever saw one, guys. And if you don't like it, my friends, you ready? Are you ready?
It doesn't matter what you think.
You gotta love The Rock. You gotta love The Rock. What do we got here? Chris, thank you so much for the super sticker, my friend. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. You forgot to leave a comment. All right, let's segue over to Squawk Box. See what's going on there. Okay, so Harvard Jason Furman on the next Fed chair. Important that they believe the Fed should be independent. Let's find out.
Of the interview process, we've announced 11 very strong candidates. I'm going to be meeting with them probably right before, right after Labor Day, and to start bringing down the list to present to President Trump.
That was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Squawk Box yesterday discussing the search for the next Fed chair. Joining us right now to talk about that and what's actually happening in the economy right now is Harvard Kennedy School professor Jason Furman. He served as Council of Economic Advisors chairman under President Obama. And Manhattan Institute senior fellow Allison Schrager. thank you both for being here today. I don't even know where you want to jump in on this, but we've been talking about Jackson Hole. We've been talking about the issues that the FOMC is facing right now. We've been talking about the search for a new Fed president or Fed chairman. Where does this all come down right now? Who wants to jump in first? Who wants to say what this moment in time means?
Look, I mean, I'm worried. There's only one thing I'm looking for in a Fed chair. You know, it'd be nice if they understand the economy. It'd be nice if they know how to manage. But the only important thing but the only really important thing to me is that they think the Fed should be independent. And I worry that the main thing the administration is looking for in the candidate is the exact opposite of that.
Look, by the way, we just had David on. We asked the same question repeatedly. How independent does this person need to be? Can you be independent? He effectively dodged the question and basically didn't even dodge it. He said, it should be political.
He said it's never been independent. It depends on which side you're on.
I mean, if you think Joe Biden was sitting there rooting for the Fed to raise interest rates by 75 basis points after 75 basis points, that's not what we wanted the Fed doing.
He may have expressed some dissatisfaction with
and
that.
we're lucky the Fed did what it did. The Fed's certainly being independent right now. You know, the president would like them to lower interest rates. They're not. So to me, that's the one thing that matters, and it's sad.
I would add a caveat to that. Biden may not have tried to put any pressure on the Fed publicly. However, Biden also got 100 basis point cut last year when the economy was worse and inflation was worse. He got 225 basis point cuts and 150, not 150, but a single 50 basis point cut as well. So to say that Biden didn't put any pressure on the Fed was helping the Democrats when they were in the office. Now, with a better economy and better inflation, they are refusing to cut rates at all for the current administration. So you can't really use that. You can't say, well, Biden wasn't adding any pressure. Well, Biden was getting rate cuts, wasn't he? He didn't need to apply any pressure.
Add that it's even become a debate and an open question.
It's been a long time of Fed bashing and Fed complaints. Maybe
behind
behind the scenes.
If presidents want to bash the Fed, that's fine with me. If they want to actually control it, that's when it becomes a problem.
You mean if this becomes the litmus test, are you going to do what I say? And you think that's the case. Allison, how about you?
I mean, I really am also very worried about Fed independence, but I'm sympathetic to the idea that maybe it's not as independent as we think. I mean, one reason we suspect that Jay Powell waited so long to increase rates when inflation returned is that he was waiting for his reappointment. So I think there's always this dance going on. What worries me even more than the pressure to cut short-term rates is that whoever's going to be Fed chair is going to be under a lot of pressure to do like serious financial repression, even on the longer end of the curve. And I think that's when things are going to get really gnarly and potentially like sort of bring us back to some sort of Japan situation.
Wow.
Japan meaning deflationary.
Yeah. Or not deflationary. I think actually the pressure to lower long-term rates might actually ultimately be inflationary because it just sort of suggests, senior option. But I mean the low growth, very low interest rate sort of situation.
Jason, just where we stand right now, how much control does the Fed have? If the Fed actually were to cut the short end of rates, how much control do they have over the long end of things, which doesn't always go along with what the FOMC says anyway. It hasn't over the last couple of years.
I mean, look, they delivered that cut in September of 2024 and mortgage rates went up.
Yeah, right.
The problem we have right now is the big thing driving the economy is the tariffs, the immigration reduction, and then what's going on with companies like OpenAI that you were talking to before. And with all of that, that's driving interest rates up. That's driving inflation up. That's giving us a situation that the central bank can't get to a good answer. They can get to less bad answers, but the only good answer would be to change some of those policies.
Okay, David Zervos said that he thinks the Fed has gotten to a neutral balance sheet because it's down to just over $6 trillion from over $9 trillion. He thinks that inflation is okay, even if it's at 3%, not beyond that, and that he thinks real employment is 3.5%. Does that sound like if it's up to snuff in terms of how you see the economy, Allison?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to justify a rate cut, particularly with what's happening with the stock market right now. And it said that inflation is still above target and unemployment isn't that low. So I think as well, when I'm getting concerned again that all these Fed nominees, potential nominees, are talking a lot about the balance sheet and the fact that a large balance sheet is desirable. I mean, I think that's debatable, but that to me is where more sort of yield curve control, which is I think where things get really dangerous because, you know, you can always sort of argue about what the short-term rate is, but when we really start thinking about yield curve control, we're going into a really different territory that I think really can erode independence.
So why do you think Powell waited so long to do? You're giving Biden credit for not complaining about the rate increase. Why did it take so long? If I were Biden, I would have been begging him to raise rates so that I didn't, get 40-year highs in inflation.
Oh, he messed it up.
But not, that's not from any political pressure.
I don't think that was for political pressure.
Well, he wanted to keep rates low. He wanted to keep rates low for Biden's economy.
He thought the inflation would be transitory. Okay. I thought he was wrong in real time when he gave that Jackson Hole address in 2021. It was like a brief.
But we don't know if there was pressure to keep rates low.
What? But what I give him a lot of credit for is when he recognized his error, he corrected it more quickly than anyone called for. Yes. No one thought they could raise rates as much as they did, and he did. And he had that courage.
I have a totally different question for you.
Okay.
No, I remember Joe would give you a hard time when you were in the Obama administration about Solyndra. I don't know if you remember. You remember this. So I want to know what you think of the industrial policy. Some of the news we're learning even this morning that the administration's thinking of taking equity stakes in all of these companies, chip companies that have taken money as part of the CHIPS Act.
I mean, this administration's enthusiasm for involving itself in American businesses, who their CEOs should be.
But the strange bedfellows is, should you be saying, rah, 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 this is fabulous, we used to do this, and this is great? Or do you say the lesson of your own experience was that Joe was right the whole time?
He won't say that.
Joe is always right. Joe is always right.
I'm always on the right.
I think one should be very, very uncomfortable about industrial policy.
But were you uncomfortable then? That's what he would say. I'm channeling him.
We summed it up.
I thought that was small amounts of money for something highly speculative. When you're talking about a large amount of money for something very established, I think you have to be more nervous about it.
We were kidding off camera. I said, I like government policy when it's a Republican policy, or government industrial policy when it's Republican. You like it when it's Democrat.
That's not true. I don't like the general.
But I'm just summing it up, sort of, because we wear different.
I sort of like markets, and
that's
roughly believe
most Democrats don't. So that's good for you. That's
so.
Allison,
that's a lonelier position.
You want to weigh in on this?
No. I mean, this is why I think you have to be careful. I'm an equal opportunity hater of industrial policy. I hate it when them do it. And you knew this was coming with the Biden administration when they started going to chip manufacturing. I think like sort of an explicit government stake is sort of, you flirt with that when you start sort of giving subsidies and start demanding, childcare and all these other sorts of benefits.
But my question is what I said to the CFO of OpenAI is there will be a day, I imagine, where the president could call up an OpenAI and say, look, we're subsidizing all the chips that you're operating on. We need a stake in you now, and you're just going to you're going to fork it over. And that's how that's the slippery slope of all this.
Like the Godfather to the baker. It's like, there will come a time.
He's doing that with my university right now.
I think tomorrow's going to be just more of a neutral stance, guys. I really do. I don't think we're going to see any kind of hint at a rate cut tomorrow or anything. Chris, my guy, my dude, for Gary, I would honestly, 10 to 15 cents is where I would be pulling the trigger, honestly. That's a monster return considering it's half a cent right now. So, I would probably be steering somewhere around that 10 to 15 cents, and then I'm out. Monster return, brother. Monster return. Carrie Ann, I'm ready for Pump City. Yes, no kidding. For all those that are impatient, The Rock says, your mouth, know your role, and hodl. Hope you're feeling better. Hit the like, everyone. Yes, what do we got? 220 people watching, 129 likes. Not bad. It would have been nice to get to 200, but would have been nice to get to 200. All right, looking over at the Bitcoin chart real quick. What is going on? So, just kind of double bottoming here, guys. Going sideways. We're back down to the bottom of this range right now, 112,700. I'm going to do some DCAing today. Why not? Why not take advantage of it, right? Absolutely. And yeah, just waiting for this to play out. I do believe this is a double bottom. I do believe it's going to play out very, very soon. And I do believe we're heading to the upside, guys, in rather short order. So that is it for this one. I will be back at 2 p.m. Central for a live stream this afternoon. RRM says joining the Patreon was the best decision this year. Hey, absolutely. Thank you so much. Green Tea, working from home today, so watching you on the big screen. Nice. I'm on TV, right? Look at me, Mom. All right, guys. I will see you guys a little bit later. And Kita. Yeah, Kita. I don't know too much about Kita. It sounds like a good project. I know that Caesar talks a lot about it, or talks about it sometimes anyways. He likes it. And I do trust his opinion when it comes to whether a project is good or not. But I don't know too much about the project. So, yeah. Exit Flip. Rob, what do you think about DeFi protocols that let you borrow and then leverage across platforms? Could that type of project run the cycle? Of course. Of course. Decentralized finance, baby. Let's go. Let's go. All right, guys. I will see you guys later this afternoon. Jump over to the Patreon. The link is in the chat. It's in the pinned comments. It's in the description. We will have a special Patreon live stream tonight, just like every Thursday, with Maximus Crypto and Rule Black. You're going to want to be there for that and so much more, guys. Also, check out our swing trade tier over on the Patreon as well if you want to get into our swing trades. And I will see you guys in the next one. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. God bless, guys.